Hi, this is Christy with Paper Hoarder Disorder, and we're back for video number 2 for our holiday recipe album or 4x6 photo album, whichever one you're making. It's the same pattern, just slight differences. And so what I've got here is I have the piece of medium weight chipboard, nice heavy duty stuff. You can hear that it's pretty stiff stuff, and this is the cut list on here, and all we need is 3 pieces. We need 2 7-inch by 5-inch, and we also need a 5-inch by 2¼ inch. And so this is how I would lay it out on the chipboard, just for reference. And so I've already got my pieces cut. I've got my 2 7x5s, and I've got my 5x2¼ And so that's how those are going to go together, except for we're going to add about a 1/4 inch spacing in between them to keep our paper from cracking and let it be flexible. And so what we're going to do to start is we're going to take our spine that is 5x2¼ and we're going to draw down the center of it. So it will be 1 1/8. And so I'm going to use a white gel pen, and my favorite one to use is the Jelly Roll. You can find these in a 2-pack over at Hobby Lobby. I think is the cheapest place I found to buy them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to 1 1/8-ish. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. That is not correct. I think I went too far. Let's see, I think all of the numbers are worn off on that. I need a new pinhole ruler. So let's go ahead and bring out the big one. So we've got 1 1/8. And like I said, this is just an ish. This is just close enough. The closer you can get to perfect, the better, as always. But don't stress too much over it. Don't take too much time on it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take whatever color you want to be your outside. I'm choosing black. Excuse me. I'm choosing black for my cardstock, and you want a nice sturdy cardstock. This one is Recollections from Michaels, which is a nice sturdy cardstock. It folds very well. It's thick. It's just really like it. And so what we're going to do is when we glue this down, we're only going to glue half of it at a time, and we're going to kind of line this up, and we are going to only leave about 1 inch down at the bottom, if you can see that, this one little square. So I'm going to line that up there, and I am going to try to get this about 1 inch from the bottom, and we're going to use that little line as our center point. So I'm going to use my quick dry right here, and I'm going to cover this. I went a little bit heavy on that. I want to get good coverage on this, and we are going to set it right on there about, and right about there. So go ahead and use your mat. It'll save you some guesswork. And we're just going to lightly rub that in. And when you're dealing with glue, I find and have learned that it's easier to start with light pressure, and then as you know that the glue's not going to seep out on you, then you can gradually add more and more pressure. And I'm going to take this little tool again, and I'm going to use it to burnish. I'm going to use it to give good pressure to really spread that glue all the way to the edges. And I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to make sure there's only a tiny bit of glue that came out of there, and you can use this to just kind of scrape it up. And so that's on there really well. Excuse me. And there's a couple little, excuse me. And I think I might be getting sick. So anyways, so we've got this one on there, and we've got it all the way to the edges, and it's a really great bond here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to with the cardstock on the top. We're going to add some to the other half. Some more quick dry. And this is my quick dry. It's just in a Darice bottle with an art glitter metal precision tip, which I highly recommend. Vicky's got them over at flossyscrapper.com if you need them. And again, we're just going to butt these up right against one another. And I'm going to give nice pressure, solid pressure. You know, let the heat of your hand kind of help that glue cure. So there we go. We've got, this looks like we're washing out just a smidge. Let's go ahead and, yikes, I did it again. All right, let's see if that helps any. Okay, maybe that'll be a little bit better for being able to see. It keeps on seeming to wash out a little bit. There we go. So let's go ahead and flip it over. And we don't have any glue sticking out, so we're good. And now let's go ahead and we're going to attach our larger pieces, our 7x5s. And when we do our 7x5s, this is kind of a large area, and I would normally use the Scotch Quick Dry. But when you're doing a large area like this, it already starts to dry before you even get a chance to lay it down, no matter how quick you are. So I have got to where I use the Beacon 3-in-1. You can also use Zip Dry. I've used Zip Dry and it works just fine. But people do have more problems with Zip Dry drying up too quickly on them. And so you might be aware of that. So what we've got here is I'm going to stay about 3/8 of an inch away from the edge. And I'm just going to spread this over. It's not too thick. It's not too thin. It's just enough to make sure it's got something. And then I'm also going to trim it out at the very end before it has time to dry with a little bit of quick dry. I'm going to put that right down about 1/4 inch away from the edge of this center chipboard. I'm going to push down with both hands, and I'm going to give it a teeny weeny little shake, like a little shimmy. And when you give that little shimmy, it helps spread that glue around. And what's nice about the 3-in-1 is that it gives you extra room to play. Extra room to position and all of that. It gives you extra time. And so what I'm doing here is I'm lining this one up straight with this one. And so I'm making sure that I'm staying in line, or at least as close as I can get. And so we've got that on there pretty well. Let's go ahead and flip it over. We're going to give some good pressure, let the heat of our hands kind of help that glue cure. And then I'm going to take our burnish tool, or what I consider my burnish tool now. I like it better than my real burnisher. And I'm just going to help spread all that all the way to the edge. And this one can leave some scratches on there. Let me go ahead and show you. See, you can get some little scratches on there, but I'm not worried about that because mine is going to be completely covered with paper. So if you're worried about that, then maybe this isn't the tool for you. I use it a lot, so it gets a little rough. So maybe a regular burnisher for that, or just use your hands if you're planning on not covering yours with paper. And so here I rotated it, and we're going to do it one more time. About 3/8 inch-ish from the edge. Just a fair amount, not getting too skimpy with it and not globbing it on, you know, just somewhere in the middle, a little moderation. And then we're going to trace the edge, and we are going to lay it down about 1/4 inch from the edge of this chipboard. We're going to put our hands on there. We're going to give it a teeny weeny little shake, a little shimmy. And then we are going to take our ruler and we're going to line it up again, and we're going to make sure that we are completely lined up here. And so it does help to have, this is an 18-inch ruler. This is the lip edge ruler by Olfa. I don't think that you can find the lip edge anymore, but what's really important here is that you have an 18-inch ruler. It's very handy to have one. Okay, so we're all lined up. Let's go ahead and flip it over. Oh, we got a little glue there. Let's go ahead and rub it in there and spread that glue out. Use the heat of our hand to help cure that glue and get it to set up right. And then I'm going to use my burnish tool and I'm going to spread it all the way to the edges and all the way back here to the edges. All right. Then we're going to flip it over. Okay, so there we go. We've got our pieces on our black. And so what we're going to do now is we've got about an inch down here, and we want an inch basically, oops, we want basically an inch on all sides, and I just did it again. So what we're going to do is you can take your ruler, and if I can see here again, too many of my lines are worn off of that one. So I'm just going to use this one, and I'm going to mark approximately an inch. Now, it doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be close, because all of this is going to get tucked under. So again, we're going to, let's go ahead and roll that all the way up to here so we can get it in. Oh, we can't get it in one swoop anyways. Maybe if we go all the way up to here. Okay, so we're going to draw. You might have to draw 2 lines if you don't have a full length ruler. And so we've got that. And over on this side, we are going to come to about an inch, somewhere around there. Okay, so now we have 2 options here. We can either cut it with our X-Acto knife and a metal edge ruler, or we can use our scissors. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. And the one I use is a Westcott. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. I like it a lot. But I would also recommend the Martha Stewart, which is very comfortable and easy to use, if you guys don't already have one. So we want to make sure that we're on our metal edge so that we're not digging into our ruler. Or you can use a full metal ruler if you don't have a metal edge, acrylic metal edge. You can just use a plain metal ruler. Okay, so we just cut that off, leaving an inch. And again, this is how you would do it if you were drawing the line. You'd have to do it in 2 passes along this this long edge when you were marking with a pen, if you don't have that long ruler. Okay, and so we're going to take that part off, and we're going to come over here and we're going to line it up, and we're going to take this part off. There you go. And one last side. And we're going to take this one off. And you, like I said, you don't have to be exact here. Just close. Okay, so now what we're going to do next, let me find the top. There we go. What we're going to do next is I'm going to use the edge of my ruler, which is just slightly less than 1/8 inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of make an equal, what they called an isosceles triangle. It does not have to be exact, but you don't want it to be like this. You see how strange that angle is you want it to be fairly even on two sides, which is an isosceles. And so it just has to be close. It does not have to be an exact. Okay, so we're just going to draw a little line and see what we did here. Let me show you the distance we are from that edge. It looks like it's right up on it, but it's actually a good 1/16 of an inch, between a 1/16 of an inch and an 1/8 of an inch. So that's, boy, let's see. There you go. You see the distance in there? So we're talking about a 1/16 of an inch, between a 1/16 of an inch and an 1/8 of an inch. And that's where we want to be with that. And so if you don't have this ruler, then you can use whatever it is that you have that is just a slightly less than 1/8 of an inch. And we're just going to draw that on there. We're going to go through all four sides. And over here as well. All right, and some of these are right on the money, and some of them are a little long. Like this one is a little closer to an 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to cut on the inside of the line there. So we're going to just take our scissors, and again, this is one of those things where the longer the edge, the easier it's going to be. So we're just going to trim those off. We're not going to be too precise about it. All of these could definitely stand to be on the inside edge, because we only really need about a 1/16, but it's always almost always better to be a little long than a little short. Okay, and so that's what we've got. So we have cut these to within about a 1/16 of an inch of those corners on all four sides. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take this, well, it doesn't really matter which side's up, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to fold it towards us. We're going to start creasing this, and this is going to stay on the table. So what we're doing is we're pushing that chipboard into the table, and do you see how we're just kind of rocking it towards us? Do you see how it's already starting to bend up? So we're going to hold these two large sides, and we're going to rock that all the way nice and tight against the table over, and we're going to push it down. And then, so here's what we have. So it has pushed this up and over. So now we're at about a 45-degree angle with that. So we're starting to train our paper. So we're going to do the same thing with the other side. So we're going to put that 1 inch flat on the table. We're going to start rocking it over towards us, and we're going to push it down. There you go. And so here's what we have. We have those two angled, and they're starting to angle back up. Now what we want to do is we want to start adding our score tape. What I have here is 3/8 inch, but you absolutely may use the 1/4 inch is just fine. If you have 1/2 inch, that will work too, but don't go, an 1/8 of an inch is not enough, and 1 inch is too much. So we're looking at a 1/4 inch to a 3/8 inch is the best, but you can use 1/2 inch. If you have 1/8 inch, you can double it up. And so what we're going to do is we're just adding this score tape right to the very edge, only in the center of our book binding. And it's going right up to the edge of our chipboard, from edge to edge. And my little Silhouette scraper tool works pretty good as a score tape ripper as well, as you can see. All right, and now we are going to burnish these. We're going to give them nice pressure. We're just going to, burnishing just means rubbing hard, really working it in there. You want to make sure that this score tape is really bonded You can use score tape. This is actually Miracle tape, which is the same. You can use red line tape if you'd like. So I'm just burnishing these in to give a good, solid bond. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my bone folder, and this one I am going to use my regular bone folder. What I'm going to do is where we've started training these, I'm going to hold it over to the side, and I'm going to put my bone folder right on a 90-degree, and I'm going to push right up against the edge of that chipboard. And what that's going to do is it's going to give it a nice crisp edge. Then on the side, and then to give a nice crisp edge on the top, we're going to start in the top. Again, we don't want that tapered effect, so we're going to start in the top and we're going to work our way out to the sides. And we're just pushing down on there. And we're going to do that to all 4 sections. We have 2 sections on each side. So we're going to do the outside and then we're going to do the inside. And we're just training our paper. And again, we're going to do 90-degree. And then we're going to do on top, nice and flat. And here we're going to do a 90-degree as well. On top, nice and flat. And now we're ready for some glue. So here we go. Let's go ahead and take our quick dry. Oops, one more thing. You have to pull these out of the way. So we need to pull them up a little bit more than an inch so that we can still glue this down to it without that getting in the way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my quick dry and I'm going to put it right there in the gutter there. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to stay about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Zigzag it back and forth. And then again, starting in the center, I'm going to wrap that up, pushing that up nice and tight. And I'm going to rub it out to the edge. All right, and so there's that. Let me give you a little close-up of that. So there we go. And then on this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull it up a little bit so that we can get that stuck down. We're going to put a little bit of glue in the gutter. We're going to come 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Zigzag back and forth. And we're going to wrap that up and over. And you can see here that 1 inch is more than enough to be wrapping around here. I've done it with, you only need to have a 1/2 inch, but if you have 1 inch, it makes it easier to do. So, there's that. So we're going to pull those up. We're going to go down here in the gutter with the glue. At least 1/8 of an inch from the edges, zigzag it, fold it over, start in the center and work your way out. Again, this is glue, give it a nice burnish, give it time to kind of dry. Alright, and now one more time, pull these up out of the way, and I'm just creasing these with my finger to keep them from flopping back down where I don't want them. And down here in the gutter, zigzag them. One of the neat things about learning how to wrap your own covers is that once you know how to do that, you can make an album any size that you like, with pages any size that you like, and album covers any size that you like. Okay, so there's what we've got so far. And what we're going to do on these edges is I am going to just take my thumb and I'm going to have it around the edge here. Let me go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it over. I'm going to roll it around the corner. So I'm just rolling the paper around that corner and kind of tucking it in. And it's just ever so slight, but that tiny little bit if you can see, let's see here. For some reason, our lighting is a little off. And I'm going to tuck it right into the corner there. And I wish I knew how to, let's see if that helps. And so I'm going to tuck it right into the corner. So we're going to come around the edge. We're going to start on the outside and wrap it right around the edge to the corner. And it is not really, it's so tiny that you can't even see it. But it's just basically flattening that out right there. So we're going to do that on both sides. We're going to start on the outside. Now you can do this with your bone folder as well. You can take it at a 90-degree angle, and then you just kind of come around the corner with it. You kind of just pull that up and around the corner and around the corner. And you just want to flatten that out. And then you're going to take and you're going to put that 1/2 inch or that 1 inch on the table, and we're going to fold. You can fold it towards you, away from you, whatever you prefer. When they get big like this, it's whatever works for you. And then this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold it over. And we are going to crease it up. Flatten it out, especially these corners. We want to make sure those are not sharp. We're going to kind of flatten those corners out. We can add our glue down in the ditch, down in the gutter, and fold that over. And we nearly have it wrapped. And so over here, we've got this over here. Wrap it over. Flatten that out. Oh, we got a little bit hanging out here. There we go. All right, and so there's our cover so far. And so we're going to start training it. You can stick your fingers right in the center, right where that valley is, and you can start helping train that just a little bit though. Don't go too crazy with it. So that's kind of training it. And we are going to come right back and we are going to add our spine piece. So we'll see you in a minute.